I know I said I was going to make a video tomorrow, but anyone who watched the game, that was horrible. Like, we couldn't. The defensive line, which I thought was one of our strongest positions, got manhandled by what I considered maybe the Niners' weakest position, which apparently looks like a strength now. So we had no penetration. They got 150 yards running on us with just Carlos Hyde alone for 2 touch. Kaepernick he looks flawless almost. They seemed to run only like 3 or 4 plays the entire game. Either that or they're just very similar. But that Teddy was hit every other play, it seemed. You can't have that. We had no tone setter on defense. We had no time for Teddy. And when we did have time for Teddy, all the receivers were covered. No one could get open, which seems like a similar trend from last year. We need to overhaul. I think it's time to overhaul the linemen for the most part here. I know Sullivan was out. I think that was a big blow to this. I don't think Khalil's going to... It was mainly interior, though. I will say that, actually. It was mainly interior, as Peterson, when he was in, he couldn't block properly. Like, I know that there was one play... Was it Tart? It was one of the safeties. I think it might have been Tart. He came up the middle. Peterson went out to block to the outside. You're supposed to block from inside out. So the fact that he came in from the A gap right there. Bowman hit on Fusco, kind of low, turned him inside as that opened the lane for the safety to come right in. We can't have these issues. We need to protect our quarterback. And then Peterson, the fact that they want to give him the ball. He had like 4 rushes for 13 yards in the first half, I believe. Give him the ball. Like, it's Adrian Peterson. He is the focal point of the offense. Why aren't you giving him the ball? It's insane. Makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Why even have him? And this brings me to a different point here. With that defense that we had, all those defensive issues, whether it be passing the ball, running, like, whether it be pass defense, rush defense, I don't care what it is. We need a tone setter. Don't hate me on this, but Cam Chancellor, maybe? You want to try for that? I know, like, he doesn't really fit with the cap situation, but I feel like that could be a need now. We have this question mark at strong safety. I think Andrew Sandejo got the start over Blanton. Both of them looked about the same to me tonight. So, and that wasn't too much. Newman got called on a few penalties. Same with, I think Rhodes had 1, as far as I know. Like, it was just so bad. It almost seems like we combined the problems from 2014 and 2013 and we meshed them. We had no defense in 2013. That looked the same as it did tonight. The O-line looks like it has regressed since 2 weeks ago. I know 2 weeks ago was a preseason game, but as Teddy was practically just clean. He was like the entire preseason. Tonight he was getting hit left and right. Teddy's a good quarterback. Like, I think we saw a lot of the skills that Teddy Bridgewater brings to the table tonight. I know it was a losing effort, but he never looked flustered, really. He had some bad throws here and there, but he was also getting hit every single play. How many good throws do we see from quarterbacks after they get pounded? Like, I don't know. He definitely got hit like at least 12 times in all tonight. There's no way it wasn't at least 12. He was just getting destroyed. It just made no sense. Like, if your quarterback's in that much risk, why are you still throwing the ball? Run the ball. You have Adrian Peterson. And then when McKinnon came in and they ran the ball a little bit with him, he actually got some yards as well. So they were having success running the ball. Why weren't you running the ball? It made no sense. Like, how many teams would actually throw the ball that much if they had Adrian Peterson? If you think about it, not too many. The only reason that would deter them from using a guy like Adrian Peterson is if you had a quarterback like a Tom Brady or like a Drew Brees or guys like that. That's the only way I see them not giving AP the ball at least 20 times a game. It made no sense. Absolutely no sense. I don't know how you can possibly do that. I really don't. It was a horribly sloppy game too for the special teams. I know we had the blocked field goal, but after that it went really downhill. Locke looked like himself from last year, which is not good. We need him to be a little bit better. Walsh missed another field goal. Just too many things, too many mistakes. We even had issues with missed tackles. Guys that never miss tackles. So, made no sense. Made absolutely no sense. Barr was definitely our best player on defense tonight, though. He was flying around. He was making tackles everywhere. So, our entire defensive line didn't show up, though. That D-line needs to show up. I don't understand of why it didn't, as I believe that is our deepest point of the team. Sharif Floyd got hurt early, which is bad. That's very, very bad. So, it just didn't. Nothing happened really that well for us. Absolutely nothing. That's never a good thing. It's never, ever a good thing to happen. I don't understand why it had to be like that, but it was. And just to pull up a quick stat line here. Kaepernick probably had about 60% of his balls completed. I'd imagine. He only had like 170 yards, though, probably. He didn't have yards. But he had completed passes, and he was driving down the field. He was doing just about everything they needed. Oops. So, Peterson finished the night with 31 yards. 31 yards on 10 attempts. We only gave it to him 10 times. And for the most part of that game, it was a close game. Why aren't you giving AP the ball? Our leading receiver was Wallace. That's good, I guess, but that doesn't make sense, though. Why give it to why not give it to Peterson? Why are you not giving it to Peterson? You were without him for a year, and then you have all of this hype going up about him being like he's back. It's going to help Teddy so much. And then you're just never going to give him the ball. Part of that entire deal was that you are giving him the ball to take pressure off Teddy Bridgewater. If you're not doing that, it's the same thing as last year. Just now you have a guy who has actually done something back there. It makes no difference. If you're not going to use him, why have him? Just makes me rethink Minnesota's entire way of thinking. They need to be better in so many levels at this point that I don't know if we had all this hype going up saying that we could be a playoff contender. I don't think we can be. After that, this is a Niner team that was depleted. Obviously, they have rallied around the guys that they have. They have done well. They've worked with what they got. But I almost feel like our guys got complacent with all this talk saying they're going to be so good, and blah, 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 all these other things. Being able to reach the playoffs. Some guys, I've heard some analysts say that that they have them to win the division. So over Green Bay makes me think like maybe they got a little bit complacent with everything. So I do know one thing. Zimmer's a tough dude. He's not going to stand for this. I know that. He's not a pushover kind of coach. He is going to work these players harder than probably the entire time of this offseason after this game. Because this game was just atrocious. This was really bad. Like, I can't. Other than the fact that there are only two positive lights that I can find in this game, which was Teddy Bridgewater being. He didn't get frustrated. He didn't try to force anything. He did throw the interception, but I think that had something to do with the mental clock in his head because he only had 2 nanoseconds usually to throw the ball. And then you had Anthony Barr on defense who was flying around everywhere, and he looked okay after missing some time in the preseason. But outside of that, there was nothing. No one showed up. Griffin didn't do anything. Griffin got manhandled, and then when he didn't get manhandled, he went off sides. So he didn't do anything. The middle of the line got just like the entire line got manhandled, whatever level it was. The linebackers were missing tackles. They were bad in coverage. They wouldn't like the crossing routes to the left and right. They would run these counter plays and these stretch plays to the side, and then they would just do this bootleg out. Just hit that one little crossing pattern right in between, probably about 6 or 7 yards down the field. They were just taking that all day, leading down the field. Minnesota didn't deserve to win this game. They really didn't. So it's rightfully so that they lost it. It just made no sense at all. They need to get some linemen in there. And I think they need a tone setter on defense, which is why I said maybe Cam Chancellor in the earlier video of this. So I know a lot of people are going to be like very, what's the word here? Like, I don't know, not very wanting of Cam Chancellor, maybe. Not just because of the contract issue that he has. But I think that could be a need at this point because we're very undecided on this strong safety spot. If we can go out and get a guy like Cam Chancellor, I think it would be worth it, honestly. Because at least if we can't score, maybe we can stop others from scoring that much on us. So when we can at least keep it closer and then hopefully give the ball to Peterson and just have that. And then basically imitate what Seattle has done these past couple of years. Run the ball, clock management, good defense. Now, part of a good defense would be a good defensive line, which we clearly need consistency on. Because I do feel like that's still our deepest thing, right there, our deepest position. So we just need them to be more consistent. This is a young team. They are inconsistent. So I think that's going to be one. I think that is one of the main issues. I don't think there's enough experience on the team. So that's where another thing comes in where maybe we should trade for Cam Chancellor because we need that tone setter. He brings experience and a Super Bowl ring with 2 Super Bowl appearances. So that's pretty experienced. I know Chad Greenway is going into his 10th year, but I think he's a liability. I think Eric Kendricks should be in there more. It's just this was such a bad opening. Like, we only gave it to Peterson 10 times. Like, when's the last time Peterson only carried it for 10 times? Like, someone should post that down there in the comments. I really want to know the last time Peterson had only carried the ball 10 times out of the backfield. I know he had the 2 receptions, and he carried a couple defenders across for about 7 yards, it seemed like. But outside of that, he had nothing. So tell me what you guys thought about this game. Like, I really want to know about that. Because I don't know. Like, I'm not looking forward to this season now, almost, if this is how it's going to be. Because we're going to be lucky to win 6 games if it's like this. So I would really like to know what you guys think about that game. I know it's only one game and it's the first week, and you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. But this was just, like, this is supposed to be a team that's on the rise against a team that was kind of downfalling. And the fact that we couldn't even score a touchdown during this, with all the weapons we have with Charles Johnson, Mike Wallace, Adrian Peterson, Kyle Rudolph, Jarius Wright, we have Cordero Patterson. He's a big play dude. This makes no sense. It makes no sense not being able to score. Because Cordero Patterson, I just mentioned him, he is probably one of the best kick returners. They kicked it out of the end zone twice. He got to return it once, and he only carried it to about the 10-yard line. And then I like Sherrill. Sherrill's did okay on special teams. He recovered the fumble on the block kick, and then he got another return for about 10 yards. So I like Sherrill's tonight. That was okay. But there really isn't much to like about this game. It was pretty bad. So, you guys I really want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Because this just was too much. Too much. I expected that we would at least have a $150 from AP, maybe a touchdown. I thought we would have Bridgewater throwing for at least $250 and maybe a touchdown or two, and then we'd probably end up winning the game like 28 to like 17. That's what I figured. And then we end up losing 20-3. That's just too much of a thing there. We can't do that. This is a team that needs to take the next step. We're supposed to win close games and games that we're supposed to win. This goes under the category of games we were supposed to win that we are not winning. We just need to get better at the fundamentals with the tackling and the coverage on defense for the most part. And then offense. The offense played well for the most part. It was just the amount of, it's just the offensive line. Bridgewater played well. Peterson played well when he got a hole. So did McKinnon. Asiata had one good gain out of the backfield. So, I don't know. It's just such a bad game, though. It's insane. Well, I'm gonna try to cool down a bit, so see you next video.